Hey there. Good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode 1516. I think we may have already passed the 5-year anniversary. I started Hobby Evolution in 2020, sometime in June or July. I can never remember. I think it was in July sometime. So today could be, look at my hair is, I need, the reason I didn't wear a hat today is because I didn't want to run upstairs. And then I ended up having to run upstairs anyway to get a glass of water. I'm out of bottled water. So, welcome. Good morning. It is hump day. It's Wednesday. It's trash and recycling day. Both my bins are at the curb. So that is good. I want to take a look at my eBay numbers. Another good night on eBay Live last night. A little slower than what we saw over the weekend, but still overall a great night. My net sales year to date are now up 172%. It seems like after every eBay Live, I'm increasing my sales numbers by 3 percentage points. Now, a year ago, I was in Switzerland at this time. So I was in Europe. So my July, especially early to mid-July, my sales numbers a year ago were way down. So I'll probably continue to see that growth. I still had a good July in 2024, despite being out of the country for 2 weeks. But definitely this time of year, my sales were a little below average. But I had a good second half of 2024. But still, I will definitely rise above that. I was concerned before eBay Live took hold. I was concerned, how am I going to grow my eBay business 40% year over year? And it was looking dicey when I was floating at 15%, and I'm like, shit, this was the worst half of the year. How am I going to do in the second half? And now, no concerns on hitting those marks. Now it's like, can I hit 200%? Can I hit 250% year over year growth, which is mind blowing. Quantity sold also up over 26%. My average sales price per item, obviously, eBay Live has helped that, up 60%. So just crushing it on eBay Live. Another successful eBay Live last night. One of those things where some stuff was selling. I sold a 1978 Topps Seattle Mariners lot of how many cards? 13 cards, 12, 13 cards. Commons, Seattle Mariners, 78. There's nothing really in there. And sold for $21. $21 for a dozen common 78 Topps Mariners cards. So I'm like, all right, does any other team? So I'm taking requests. So I did Royals, Cubs, Rangers, Pirates. I think the Royals and Cubs did okay. Like they did okay, this is worth it. Not $21, but I don't know, 5 to 10, somewhere in that range. And then the Rangers and Pirates, I had somebody request both of those. I think by the time I had pulled them out, they had left. And they were larger lots, like 20. And there was I think $2 each on the Pirates and Rangers lots. So that's a bummer. So I'm like, all right, no more 70, at least tonight, because it was taking me a little bit of time to go through. And there was some other stuff like late 70s football has been on fire lately. And it seems like these things go in ebbs and flows where, 80s night has continued to be successful but I'm not seeing the prices realized that I saw early on. And so I have a feeling like some of the late 70s, we're going to see a decline. I'm not going to continue getting the numbers I'm getting on that stuff. So had some glitching. I think a new rollout. There was some updates for buyers on the app, at least. I had a lot of people in the chat room talking about the changes on the app. Some people didn't have it apparently, their app must not have changed. I couldn't look at it because my phone is used to do the filming. I'm gonna look in my app now. I don't know if my app has been updated or not. Um, I can't tell. Okay, so I don't think I've updated my app is not updated. So I'm still seeing the old, and that's what some people were saying. That's nothing has changed on my end. But we did have some glitching. I think on Sunday night we had some extended bidding when it was supposed to be sudden death. Last night we had some sudden death when it was supposed to be extended bidding. All of my auctions last night were supposed to be extended bidding. And don't know what happened. That actually could have been the glitch with the Caleb Williams on Sunday night, where I could have swore I put extended bidding and it went sudden death. So there was some glitching. There was one auction that went for $1. I'm like, why did this only sell for $1? And I had 3 people in the chat say I couldn't bid. I tried to bid, but I couldn't. And so I got to reach out to my eBay rep and be like, hey, I had a lot of glitchiness on Tuesday night. So we'll see. I'm looking forward. eBay's doing like a cocktail hour at the National. So I got an invite to that. It's the Wednesday night, which is good because Wednesday night is the only night that I don't have anything planned at this point. So Wednesday night I'll do the cocktails. It's like eBay cocktails or something. I can't remember what it's called, but so I'll be heading to that after the National Wednesday night. Thursday night I do plan to go on eBay Live from the hotel room. I need to get. I was trying to, but you can't buy your way up status memberships on Marriott because I'm like Silver Elite because I don't stay in hotels that often. So you get like the better Wi-Fi with Gold Elite. So I'm like, I just want to buy this, and you can't. So I'll just pay the $5 or whatever it costs to get the better Wi-Fi. So that's Thursday night during the National, which is are we 3 weeks away? I think we're 21 days away. I think the National begins July 30th. This time next week, I'll be heading to Chicago for our trip to Maine, little short vacation to Maine. And then head back for the Madison Card Show 2-day affair, and then boom, we're right into National Week. So Wednesday night, I'll get in town on Wednesday morning, and then the National opens its doors at 3 on Wednesday. Head to the eBay event on Wednesday night. Thursday all day at the National. Thursday night, I'll go back to the hotel. We'll do eBay Live with stuff I picked up the first couple days at the National. Friday is my off day. I'm going to Wrigley Field, Cubs Orioles on Friday afternoon, 1:20 Friday games. Awesome. Saturday back at the National for a full day. We'll probably do our couch people because I think Saturday night's going to be the only free night it is going to be the only free night I have. So we'll do a get together, Shoeless Joe's. Hopefully you can make it Saturday night. Shoeless Joe's just down the street. I think that's where we'll do it. That's where we did it 2 years ago. So why not run it back? So hopefully you can make it Saturday night of the National. We'll do a little get together at the at Shoeless Joe's just down the street from the Donald Stevens Convention Center. And then Sunday, it's all over. And then like summer's over. And then it's like I got July, boom, boom, boom. And then it's like, oh, now what? Now it's Christmas time. August 3rd, 4th, whatever it is. I guess we get Christmas now. So yeah. So that's what's going on. So looking forward to it. What else is going on? That's about it. I got a lot of shipping done. So I had yesterday, I looked at my shipping and I had 335 orders to ship, which is a little deceiving. So there's good and bad. And by the way, starting today, everybody is auto pay on eBay Live. Thank the Lord. I had so many non-payments, and I'm in percentage wise a very small percent, but when you start adding it up, I probably had $2,000 worth of non-payments. Now, I just reran this once they eBay canceled them for non-payment, they go back in the kitty. Some stuff probably sold for more, some sold for less, probably evened out at the end. So, but it's a waste of time. And it's money that can be made, in June instead of July. So it's a pain in the ass. But eBay is going to all auto pay. All users are under auto pay, I think, starting today, July 9th, which thank goodness. So I love that. Now, the downside to that, which I'm okay with, it's kind of like paying fees on the taxes. The alternative, you don't want to pay? Well, you've got to report that your tax numbers to every single state you sold to. So I feel that small fee on the whatever tax amount is, I feel like that's a service. eBay's doing me a service because I don't like paperwork, and I'm sure most of you don't either. So I feel like, oh, we're paying fees on the tax. That's illegal. It's like, I'm sure it's not. I'm no lawyer, attorney when it comes to this, but I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure it's not illegal. That's what people say, though. That's what the internet says. All the internet attorneys. And so the downside is the transaction fees, and you know my thoughts on transaction fees. However, change my tune a little bit because it's auto pay. So, in the month of June, say I had $2,000 in losses, we'll use air quotes, losses because of non-payment. Now I get that $2,000. However, the downside is I probably have, a couple $100 in extra transaction fees because now each of those auto payments is a transaction. When I look at my 335 orders to ship, it's not necessarily separate orders because I have to go in and I have to combine the orders. So it does take a little extra time. So it takes a little extra time and I get dinged 30 cents each time. I think. I haven't actually looked. I assume I do because it's a processing fee. I just assume each transaction is going to be on a transaction. So it takes a little bit of time and I get dinged 30 cents. But I feel like if it's auto pay, I feel it's, you're not waiting. It's not, because when I do have to wait, especially if it's like up to a week, like I want to get this stuff, even though I'm a slow shipper, 3 business days. I do like to get stuff, I like to get it out within 3 business days. So when it goes beyond that, then it's like, okay, which box, okay, which order was this from, which day? Because I've got each auction night is in a 2 or 3 row box, easily distinguishable. So that's my thoughts on that. My title today is the Marquis Grissom Index. What the hell is the Marquis Grissom Index? I'm going to tell you about it. It's something I just made up this morning because I didn't have a topic. I was in the shower and I'm like, I've been really lazy on topics. I need like a thumbnail because I've been using the same 3 thumbnails like every video. I don't have any topics. I need a topic. So there was something I found yesterday, part of the 80s collection I bought last week. And it's like, okay. I'm gonna use this as a topic because it does relate to today. And you can be on either side of this. It's not really a debate, but you can say, yes, this was a genius decision. This was a terrible decision. And both could be right, depending on the circumstances. And the same can be said today. In 1990, it was Marquis Grissom. Today, it could be Paul Skeens. It could be Jacob Miller or Jacob Wilson, or Cal Raleigh, or name your hot name right now. So we'll talk about the Marquis Grissom Index. But first, we chat. Peter's in the house. Good morning. Todd is here. What's happening? Peter says, you stick a fork in the side. I must have. It's a good hat day. I need a haircut, but I've been kind of holding out since we're traveling, and then it's like boom, boom, boom. Maine, Madison Card Show, National. So I kind of want to strategically schedule my haircut. Maybe I'll hold out till like Monday. Cody's in the house. What's going on? 608 in the house. Orlando is here. Good morning. Maddie Ice, what's happening? Orlando says, congrats on your incredible success with eBay Live. Thank you. I appreciate that. Zach says, I'm sitting on a haul of Kleskos going to cash out soon, and that's the counterpoint. Cooter says, but your cost of goods are going up as well with your new sourcing. Absolutely. So I honestly don't know because I don't have my spreadsheet in front of me for my cost of goods. So, I spent probably in the month of June, I probably spent $6,000 on cost of goods. In June of 2024, it was probably, I think I did look this up. I think it was like $3,000 or $4,000. So I honestly didn't spend much more in the month of June. Now in July, already 9 days in, I've spent over 2,000, but probably 3,000 because there's an eBay purchase in there. So I've spent about 3,000 on cost of goods here in the first 9 days of July. So yes, cost of goods are going up, but it's still a blip. And my net sales, when looking at my net sales year over year of 172% year over year, that doesn't take into account cost of goods this year or last year. So, while yes, my cost, it's not like I've put 20,000 in cost of goods. My cost of goods are, a little higher, 3,000 for the first 9 days. That's significantly higher than what I did last July, especially if you compare year over year. My cost of goods from July 1st to July 9th in 2024 were zero because I was not in the country. So 3,000 compared to zero. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look at my spreadsheet from last year, but yeah. Zach says, don't you feel terrible gouging buyers on eBay and overcharging people to enter your trading card show? No, not at all. Not at all. Hey, speaking of that, I don't know if it's in this issue. I've got a issue of 1990, Beckett 1990 here. Actually, it might have been this issue. So 35 years ago, I want to look at table price. Let's just look at there's not anything in here. Milwaukee. We're going to look at Wisconsin just to have a similar geography. All right, here's one. Milwaukee in 35 years ago in 1990 in Milwaukee. The Hall of Fame baseball card show on June 24th, 1990. It was a 75 table show. Tables were $55 each in 1990 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Admission was $2. So do your inflation calculator and run those numbers. So dealers and customers alike are getting great deals at card shows. Card show tables and admission have not seen the rise that everything else has. Homes, cars, milk, bread, eggs, baseball cards themselves. Card shows, it's like the same amount. You're spending the same amount, not even taking into account inflation. Good morning, Unicorn Cupcake. Philly Joe, good morning. Unicorn says this presidency has really changed him. Agreed. His e-bike doesn't even recognize him anymore. No, I haven't even got my e-bike out. I hope he doesn't end up buying an island. Matty Ice says, I'll be at the Cubs game Friday as well. We'll only be at the National Wednesday through Friday. Very nice. I will be there. I think I'm gonna do bleachers, just because it's easy, and plus, like, I just want to like talk and hang out. Like, again, I don't go to baseball. I say this all the time. I don't go to baseball games to watch baseball. I go to baseball games to like enjoy being there, and just hanging out, drinking beer, and talking to people. Zach says, are covering the cost for Shoeless Joe's, or do I need to pay a fee to get in? It's free admission, but you'll have to pay for your own food and drink. eBay Live hasn't been that good to me. I get cost of goods, remember. Bo is the Pam Bondi on transaction fees. Unicorn Cupcake says, is it true that LRS and Bo went to the same law school? It could be. It could be. Red Light, good morning. Card Safari's in the house. Good morning. Maddie Ice says good morning to Red Light. Ladies in the house. Good morning. Unicorn says Bo is like eBay Live Samson. Can't cut the hair or he loses his mojo. Red Light says hi back to Maddie Ice. Max says, are there businesses where cost of goods sold goes down? LOL. Probably not. Probably not. Although it depends on if you're looking at certain periods of time. Yeah, absolutely. You know, there are probably times this year where my cost of goods sold were down. You know, if I look at March of 2025 compared to March of 2024, I bet March my cost of goods were down over 2024. Because in March of 2024, I probably bought one or two cases. I spent a lot of money at card shop, although I did spend a decent amount at card shops this year at spring training. But I didn't buy, like, I dropped like $1,000 on wax last year in 2024. That was a terrible decision, but it was fun. I did that more for entertainment. It certainly wasn't. I mean, I'm not, with the exception of buying cases to rip and flip, I'm not buying, boxes to hope for a return on investment. So, but I bought a couple of Bowman hobby boxes last year in 2024 to rip, and then a couple boxes of like Heritage or something. This year I was just buying singles, and I bought some retail. We went to the card shop and I bought some like retail. I spent maybe $200, far less than what I did in 2024. So if you start like, massaging, all right, in March, but year over year, obviously my cost of goods will go up each year. Card Safari says, might be obvious, but watch out for those eBay seller locations. Just got hit with a UPS tariff charge for a purchase from a Canadian seller. Canada definitely not footing the bill for this. Unicorn says, perhaps an illegal drugs business. Zach says, the consumer doesn't pay the cost of a tariff. Corporations and companies are supposed to cover this additional cost. I read this. Max says, the end user is always the one that gets fucked, whether it's tariffs or cost of goods. Orlando says, Fort Lauderdale Card Show is monthly and still free entrance and free parking. Yeah. So is the Madison Card Show this month at the Sheraton Hotel, now Madison Marriott South. Hey, speaking of, we almost had another disaster. Like, every month is being, and this is why I need to raise prices for everything, because I have to deal with more and more headaches. I got an email from the hotel last week, and I did not respond until like yesterday morning because I was so pissed off. So the reason we didn't have basically the reason that pushed me to doing the card show at the Alliant Energy Center, I said just a few months ago, I said, no, we're not moving across the street. We're not moving the card show to the Alliant. And then guess what? We did. And that was because the Sheraton is now the Madison Marriott South. And with that change, they did renovations. So the rooms were not available to do a card show in May or June. That's why the May show was canceled. And that's why the June show was at the Alliant Energy Center. And then it's like, well, let's just do every other month at the Alliant Energy Center. And then I'm like, well, I had so many people say, well, we have to do a monthly show in Madison. Okay, well, I guess we'll do a monthly show in Madison. Well, let's just do the 2-day shows, make it worth my while. And the Pokemon show was a big hit in April or whatever month that was. So that's why. So we didn't have a hotel show because there was no the place to hold it. So I get an email last week. So they're renovating the rooms. I get an email last week. The Capitol Square, the biggest ballroom, the one upstairs, was not going to be ready for either show in July. That's a problem. So I sat on the email for a few days because I was so pissed off. I didn't want my emotions to get the best of me in replying. So I waited, and I'm like, okay, how can we avoid a major problem, because it's already being promoted. It's already, tables are already being booked for the Pokemon portion. How can we fix this? So I responded, and okay, this is what we need to do. And then I got an email back. The owner just called the GM or something, and the room will be ready, but it's the mezzanine that won't be ready. So the ballroom will be open. The mezzanine will not. However, the tables in the mezzanine, the quantity of tables out there fit perfectly in the Badger stateroom, which we have used in the past, and I have signs, so I don't have to have an extra. It's like, now I'm thinking, and this is stuff that people don't think about when it's like, oh, they just count tables. Oh, you're making $60 a table, and there's 140 tables, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you don't take into account like all of the advertising I do, the marketing, the signs, like that stuff's not free. Like, there is a cost to all this. And my time is also valuable. I probably don't make enough on all the headaches that I have to deal with. So, I'm thinking, when the alternative, if the ballroom wasn't going to be open, like, I've got to have signs out the ass, and that's an additional cost. So, but we're going to avoid that. It's still not. Now, this could change because it's still right now under construction. So they're going to keep me posted, and but it appears to be the ballroom will be ready. The downstairs ballroom, that was the first. The Williamson ballroom was the first ballroom to get renovated. So that's finished. That'll be ready. Upstairs is currently under construction, and looks like the timeline. Cross your fingers. I'm crossing mine. Will be ready by July 26th or whatever the day is. So that was another headache I had to deal with. Where are we at in the chat? Card Safari says, I'll have to reach out to Justin Trudeau to ask him why he didn't cover it. Max says, the answer to the cost of goods sold question is no, LOL. Matty Ice says, Orlando, will you be at the YouTube hangout on Thursday of the National? Mikey says, hi, everyone. Good morning. Maybe people who do consignment have low cost of goods right now. Possibly. Victor says, late but here. What's up, Victor? Good morning. Zach says, the only way cost of goods sold goes down is when they lower the quality of good. I'm nervous for Jersey Mike's right now. Mikey says, I made a coupon since it's my birthday next week. If you spend $15, get $5 off. What are your thoughts on that type of coupon? It's a good idea. Will it work? You'll find out. Unicorn Cupcake says, promotion is key. Watching your YouTube stream was the reason I even knew about the Madison Card Show. Very cool. I should probably change the banner because I don't want people going to my 99centcards.com store because it's slowing me down on shipping. So stop buying cards in my Buy It Now store. Matty Ice says, haven't gotten tickets yet, but we'll definitely come over and chat for sure. Yeah, I haven't gotten tickets either. I'm always like last minute. I'm not a big planner. Good morning, Tracy. Forgot about last night's show. I would have loved those Royals cards. I think they went for the Royals actually did go for like $8 maybe, about $1 a card, I think. Little less than $1 a card. The Pirates and Rangers, those went for cheap. It's like, okay, no more 78 lots. Max says that it's a different good, LOL, not the same. Zach says Bowman H Football is still reaping the benefits of Bo's live stream. Bowman U. Lady says, will today's players cards hold their value over time? Well, the answer is yes and no. and that's part of the Marquis Grissom Index, which we're going to get to here in a moment. Flipping Sports Guy says, Bo is going to be like the other live streamers in his room selling what he bought that day while the party goes on downstairs. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You damn right I am. Thursday night, I'm not going to the YouTuber show, the YouTuber get together. I'm going back to my hotel to sell on eBay Live. That's what I'm going to do on Thursday night at the National. So let's just go back to this comment. Will today's players' cards hold their value over time? Well, Marquis Grissom didn't, but Frank Thomas did. You know what? Let me run to the other room real quick. So this is part of the Marquis Grissom Index, which I just made up. So I found, going through one of the boxes in the collection I bought, 70s, 80s, early 90s stuff. I love getting this. I'm going to, because this guy, this is his name. It's not his address. He has since moved, but it's the actual name. So I'm not going to show who I bought it from. But he bought this from Jim Carr Incorporated, Pelham, New Hampshire. So I found this receipt. 100 1990 Topps Marquis Grissom cards. 39 cents each. He paid $39 for a bunch of Marquis Grissom cards. Was that a good buy or a bad buy? Thank you, Cooter. Was that a good buy or a bad guy? $39 for 100 Marquis Grissom 1990 Topps cards. Your answer is probably like, that's a terrible buy. That's not correct. If he would have held those 100 Marquis Grissom cards, yes, that would have been a terrible buy. But let's take a look at the Beckett from June 1990, which would have been around the time that he would have got these cards. A couple months behind on the, this Beckett was probably, these came out, about a month ahead? So that he would have got this in May. So he would have probably been selling these Marquis Grissom cards. Card 714, Marquis Grissom. 60 cents. Now, if he was going to card shows, remember we didn't have the internet. If he was going to card shows, people were probably buying Marquis Grissom. Was he on the hot list? What was the Beckett hot list in June 1990? Marquis Grissom, number 26, but he probably had the up arrow because he was not rated in May. So he had moved into the hot list. So Marquis Grissom cards probably selling. 60 cents in the Beckett, which probably, 60 cents, maybe 50 cents. So even if he sold 50, or if he sold all 100 of them at 50 cents, that's a good return. $50 on a spend of 39. I don't know how much. He probably paid like 80 cents shipping back in 1990. So was that a good buy or a bad buy? It depends. And I don't know if Bob sold these for 50 cents a card or 60 cents a card or 75 cents a card or $1 a card. We don't know that information, but we do know based on the Beckett that they were 60 cents. The high value was 60 cents. So to get him at 39 cents. Now, if he couldn't move them all, and if he sat on them, if it was an investment, that was probably not good. So was it a good purchase? Maybe. Was it a bad purchase? Also maybe. So it's not just Marquis Grissom, though. We can do this with other players. I have the price list. 1990 Topps from Jim Carr Incorporated. Sold in 50 and 100 card lots. So the Marquis Grissom we know is 39 cents. How about the top card, the Frank Thomas 1990 Topps? You could probably find it for $2 or $3 on eBay, but you're probably going to spend a few bucks for a Frank Thomas today, 35 years later. You are paying just a nickel more for Frank Thomas in 1990. The price list on the Frank Thomas, 45 cents. Now you buy 100 of those, even if you held on to them. Now, your return, do you want to spend $45 to make 300 over the course of 35 years? That's probably a poor investment. Yeah, you made money, but it took 35 years. I wouldn't want to invest $45 today to make 300. What would that be? 300 in 35 years. If I'm still alive in 35 years, how old would I be? It'd be like 80. Wait, let me do the math. Yeah, almost 80. So Max, this is exactly 100% spot on. It's why you always sell what's hot. And you take a look, and you over the years, it doesn't have to be 1990. It doesn't have to be 1991, 1995, 2000, 2010, 2015. Well, yeah, but what if? What if you sold those Mike Trout rookies for $2 each? Well, there was probably 1,000 other names, if you've done this over the years, that you would have made up. You still made money if you were paying 30 cents for Mike Trout rookies and selling them for $2. Yeah, there's going to be instances where that happens. Very few. But you look at 1990 Topps, and as we know, this is the height of the junk wax era, and not much has held value on 1990 Topps, with the exception of Frank Thomas. The highest priced card, the Ken Griffey Jr., $1.29, which that card has held its value. But the margins are, again, you take into account inflation over 35 years, it's probably lost value. It was $1.29 in bulk in 1990. Ben McDonald, who did have a good career. He had a good Major League Baseball career. Ben McDonald in March 1990, $1.35. He was outselling Ken Griffey Jr. in March 1990. $1.35 per card in bulk. My guy Earl Cunningham was 49 cents in bulk. You get 100 of them for $50. So there you go. The Marquis Grissom Index, which is not real, just a made-up thing because I didn't have a topic for today. So good investment, bad investment, depends. If you were investing, bad investment. If you were flipping quick, good investment. If you got those in the mail on a Thursday or Friday and went to a card show on that card show in Green Bay, the Hall of Fame baseball card show, you might have sold half of them for 60 cents or maybe even 75 cents a card. Might have been a really good flip. Zach says, wouldn't the good be the same if I'm selling it as the same item? I make a PTAC unit. I change the way I source items to manufacture that unit. My cost of good goes down, quality lower to consumer. Unicorn Cupcake says, wait, what Frank Thomas did? You can't be serious. I don't know what that means. Wait, what Frank Thomas did? Tracy says, have they worked out the combined shipping for autopay? Yeah, I don't think there was ever a problem with combined shipping. I didn't have any issues with combined shipping on my end. In-game add-ons and purchases in a video game must have a lower cost of goods sold. Max says, it's why you always sell what's hot. Max says, too many people keep shit. Collector-wise is a different conversation. That's it's because there's over the years, back in the day, people were, the 52 mantle. If I would have kept all these cards, and it's like, but a lot of people think even today, beater 1950s cards are worth a fortune. No, they're not. It's like, I'd be lucky to get $1 out of a dollar box for this because of condition. Well, it's old. Well, yeah, but it's also supply and demand, and condition counts. And over the years, and now it's like, he could be the next Mike Trout. It's like, there was a lot less Mike Trout Topps Update made in 2011 than there are Topps Update made in 2024, 2025 coming up. And that's people are like, well, what if? What if Bitcoin hits $1 million? I'm going to be rich. It's always the what if. And that's not a good way to invest. What if? What if? It's just a gamble at that point. Sell what's hot. It's just, but why do you think I sell Bowman? Like people, why do you buy Bowman? Such a waste. I don't buy Bowman hobby because that, in my opinion, is a complete gamble. But I can buy retail and I can flip it quick and boom, make a ton of money. Oh, you buy Bowman? That's dumb. Prospecting's dumb. Well, if I bought 100 Marquis Grissom cards in 1990 and flipped them 2-3 days later at a card show for double or almost double, it's a pretty good flip, right? If I'm going to hold on to him hoping he becomes the next Mickey Mantle, no, that's pretty dumb. Unicorn says, I'll sell you 10 for 45 cents next time I see you. I would totally buy 10 Frank Thomas cards for 45 cents each. I can get $3, $4, $5 for them on eBay Live. ET Card Collector, what's going on? Good morning. Max says, people let 1 to 2 cards from the past change how they act in the present. Exactly. Make enough turning stuff where you can buy that card tenfold and not holding back. And that's and so many people are sitting on just junk because it's like, what? And I see it in my Cubs chat almost every day. It's like, buying Pete Crow Armstrong right now is the worst time to buy. Because even if he does become a perennial all-star, his stuff's going down. The more Pete Crow Armstrong cards there are, the more autographs that surface, that hit the market, they go down, even the rookies. Zach says, best investment I've made in the past year is spending my time watching Bo. Also, Bowman U football. Mikey says the coupon has worked out, so I sold a bunch and I gained 7 followers after launching the coupon. There you go. Which really surprised me. If it had to do with the algorithm, it could. Absolutely. Unicorn says he might start charging us to watch. There you go. Capitalism, baby. Capitalism. All right, that's what I had. It's 9 o'clock. I thought I woke up early. I think I did wake up early, and I was dawdling around this morning. All right. Have a good day. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't visit my eBay store, but see me on eBay Live. I may go live tonight. I don't know. It depends how much. It's twofold for going live tonight. Actually, it's threefold. Onefold, I got to get shipping caught up. Now, I have far less shipments to get out than I did yesterday. Yesterday, I was at what? 335. I'm at, that's payment. Awaiting shipment. I'm at 258. Okay, that's more than I thought. All right, so it depends on shipping. 2, it depends on getting inventory organized. That's like a problem. It's like, because what's selling? Like, I wish, if I had my stuff more organized, like 79 football was selling like crazy last night. I've got more 79 football. I've just got to get it, pull it out. So that's what she said. So I've got to get that. And then threefold, our outdoor TV arrived. So I got a buddy going to come over and help mount it. So hopefully, I don't know if he's going to come tonight or might be the weekend, but, so if he comes over tonight, obviously not going to do an eBay Live, but I will go live tomorrow morning on eBay. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central, I will be on eBay Live, and then, just getting eBay stuff organized. Zach says he steals my time by making me watch a 5-second ad on a judicial candidate or whatnot. Honestly, I'm amazed at how quickly you can grab requests on eBay Live. How do you do it? Well, I've got boxes and boxes of cards, and I just kind of know approximately where some of the stuff is. There's so many cards that I can't get to because they're just, they're in a box, nothing is organized. So that's the problem. And I think another part of grabbing the cards fast is knowing what people want. So like Sunday, when I went to the card show, I'm keeping a mental note. Okay, Steven Strasburg, Jose Altuve. I had somebody ask for Arch Manning. So I'm picking up anytime like I see something that's like, oh, I don't have any of that. I need to source that. So I pick it up. Now, picked up a few hundred cards on Sunday. 300 cards, pretty easy. I sorted them by sport before. So it's like, okay, you're looking for Caleb Williams. All right, here I got Caleb Williams. That would be a little more difficult. Denny Walling would be a little more difficult to pull. Maddie says he will waive the fee if you like the video. Mushroom Coffee is my guest. That's powered by Mushroom Coffee. All right, I'm going to go now. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I might see you on eBay Live tonight. If not, tomorrow morning, Hobby Evolution at whatever time I deem fit. Have a good one. See ya.